Welcome back to Green Pro. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to complete your solar PV design calculations on the Installer Toolkit. So once you've set up your project in Toolkit, if you don't have the tool in here, just go to New Tool, select Solar PV and Save, and then click Start to enter the tool. So just surveyor name and date at the top, and then the first thing it'll ask here is just for some panel information, so I'm just going to put an example panel in here. And just a note here to make sure that any panels that you're using are MCS certified, and you can find that out in the MCS product directory. And just select your correct panel type below, and then it will ask you for some building information. So domestic, commercial or standalone, the build type, so retrofit or new build, how you've calculated those values, so if you've gone on site and got your measurements or if you've done it remotely, the energy efficiency rating of the property if you know it, and then if there is any shading within 10 metres of the installation. So that's your survey details complete, so then you need to start adding on your strings. So you just click Add String, and then it will take you to the shading page. So you've got two options here. You can either try and get a photograph to use on here, or you can click Skip and complete it without a photograph as well. If you do choose to use an image, then it needs to be a photograph taken as near as possible to the basin centre of the array. So for example, through an upstairs window maybe. And just bear in mind that it doesn't matter which way the array is facing, the photograph that you're taking needs to be facing south. So I'm just going to upload an example image into here. So you can see you've got a yellow dotted line across the bottom, so this needs to be lined up with the horizon of the photograph, and then just click Next. And then what you're doing here is, if this object was within 10 metres, you'd use this yellow button up here, and you drag this across, and this needs dragging upwards towards sort of the highest centre point of the object. The sun path diagram stops here, so it will only go so far up here. If you want to remove that, just click on the yellow box again. And then we have the other option, which is anything that's further than 10 metres, so you'd use the green square here. And you basically just go through and select all the boxes that the object covers, just so that it can reduce the shading factor accordingly. So the other option, if you don't have an image, is to just click Skip here, and then it will just bring you up the diagram without the image in the background. And you still just need to make sure that you're taking into account any objects and shading these accordingly. It'll then just ask you for some details here, so you need your orientation, which is degrees from south, so just be aware of this if you're using sort of a standard compass. It's from south in either direction, so whether you're heading towards east or west, there wouldn't be sort of minus or anything, it would just be how many degrees from south in that direction. Your inclination here, so your pitch of your roof, how many panels you're going to be installing, we'll just say 10, and the capacity of that string, so we're using 400 watt panels, but just be aware that this is in kilowatts here. If you have got more than one string, you can add on additional strings below. Just click Add String again and just follow the same process. So once you've added all your strings, you then need to move on to your design calculation. So you just click Start here. It then gives you the option at the top if you want to use EPVS compliance. So if you're not sure what this is, as it says here, it's basically just an optional certification standard that makes sure that the performance estimates that you're providing to your customers are as accurate as they can be. If you do select yes on here, it will give you the option, once you have completed your design calculations, to then complete a further financial breakdown, which we'll go through in a separate video. It'll then ask you if you're using battery storage, so this one is PV only, so you can just select no. And then it'll ask you about the property's annual electricity consumption. So you've got three options here for the occupancy. So you've got home all day, half day or out all day. If If you can get this information from the customer, then it will make it that bit more accurate, but if you're unsure, you can just select half day. It'll then ask if the property already has any electric space heating, hot water or vehicle charging. If you select yes here, it will also ask you if the property is on a split tariff. If you select yes to this one, you'll then have to just input 12 months readings for the on and off peak tariffs. It'll also ask if there is microgeneration already installed, so this is just referring to PV panels, so if for example you were just adding a battery on to some existing PV. It'll then ask if you have 12 months electricity readings available prior to the install. Again, if you can get this information from the customer, it will make it much more accurate. If you select no here, it will just assume a figure of 3,500 kilowatt hours. It will then pre-fill the percentage of energy to be exported here and also the percentage of savings made on the energy bill. You can then enter a smart export guarantee into here if the customer is going to be using that. So you just put the tariff, the length of the tariff, unit cost of electricity and the cost of the install in here. So this will then produce your design calculation, so you can see here it's included all the information that you've entered. It's reduced your shading factor slightly from 1 because we just entered a little bit of shading at the start. It gives you your estimated output here, and then if you scroll down you can see you've got your financial benefits section and also your estimated payback period here as well. If you click on the performance estimate button here, it'll produce the performance estimate document for you, which you'll see is a requirement on your EasyMCS dashboard, and all the information will be put into this template for you so that you can just upload this into the correct section on your dashboard. And that's how you complete your design calculations for a PV only system. Thank you for watching.